There's gold to strike if you use LinkedIn the right way for B2B sales. There's also risks if you do it wrong. Let's talk about them on this episode of Closing Time. Thanks for tuning into Closing Time, the show for go-to-market leaders. I'm Val Riley, head of marketing for Insightly and Unbounce. Today, I am joined by Tim Davidson. He is founder of B2B Riz. And Tim, that's got to be the best business name we've ever had on the show.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's the best intro I've ever had. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I'd like to use our time together today for you to coach people on the risks that they can take on LinkedIn, and maybe sometimes if they take too many risks, how that could backfire. Before we do that, though, I figured we could set the stage with why LinkedIn is so important. I pulled some stats this morning, and it really is quite impressive. LinkedIn boasts over 1 billion users. That's billion with a B. Nearly 135 million people are active on the platform every day. I mean, it has become the major networking hub for professionals and job seekers alike. You know, really hard to argue with those numbers.
True. There's no other social platform you can build a B2B business so fast. It's very, very interesting.
So at this point, really, it's not if to have a presence or not, but what type of presence you have on LinkedIn. It's almost like, you know, the proverbial conference room table was in the past. Like, it's just a necessity if you're doing business.
It's networking at scale. And there's no other, you know, you could be on TikTok, you could be on YouTube and all those places, and B2B folks are going to be there, but LinkedIn's primarily like business folks. So there's just no other place where you can like really hone in on who your audience is. It's amazing, in my opinion.
Right. So as marketers, we know now like why we should be on LinkedIn as marketers and sellers. There was a recent kind of online scuffle in regards to two data companies, really caught a lot of attention. It was Seamless and Apollo. It resulted in both of those companies getting the boot off of LinkedIn. Can you talk us through what happened and why?
Yeah, so it was their company pages that got, and they're still shut down. Last I checked this morning, actually. And there's a few others that got shut down as well, but these are the two names that people would recognize the most. But essentially, they were scraping LinkedIn personal profile data. They have some rules, and they've knocked people off like from using automation tools and things like that in the past. I think it was just LinkedIn starting to really crack down, it sounds like. These were two of the first ones and the most well-known ones to get shut down. And it's been about a month, and they're still shut down. Not much word on it, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a marketer selling to salespeople, I can't imagine not having a LinkedIn presence for my business. Do you have any inclination or thoughts as to when they'll be let back on, or is that just still nebulous right now?
Oh, I mean, I have no idea. And I'm coming this at someone that's been accidentally flagged before. And I got my profile back after 2 days. So that was nice. But I mean, those 2 days were gut wrenching. My whole business is based off LinkedIn. But yeah, after a month, it's very interesting to see how far it's been. And it's, in my opinion, you know, it's got to be hurting them more than just, you know, not having a company page. If someone's searching for you and they don't see a LinkedIn company page, yeah, you exist, but it's got to hurt. And then on the other side of it, you can't run ads, LinkedIn ads at least. And I know both of them were running ads. I don't know how much they were spending or anything like that, but it definitely means that they can't spend any money on ads if that was working for them.
Yeah, I guess their Google budget just doubled. So taking this down to the individual level, as you shared, you've been kicked off before. You know, there are some more nefarious tools out there that can drive artificial engagement on LinkedIn. It's tempting if you want to really grow your follower account, but you know, is it worth it is the question. How do you see those risks versus reward?
I don't mess with them because I think it's very risky. I'm also a believer. I don't think there's a lot of people will say, hey, leave 50 comments a day, connect with 50 people a day, or whatever that number is. I'm sure that works to an extent. I don't like that. I don't think it should be looked at as like a number you need to hit per day. I think it should be more of, again, like networking at scale, but like actually networking, just leaving comments when you need to, connecting with the right people, uh, especially if you're using automation tools and all these AI comments. It's not a good look in my opinion, and people can smell it. They can see it. It's very obvious. And like we're mentioning, LinkedIn's starting to crack down. And I know of people that have had their profiles flagged because of automation, or not even using automation, but it looks like automation because they're just doing too many connections at one time. And that's not a risk I don't want to make.
Let's talk about some of those tactics that maybe dance on the line of integrity. For example, I've seen this one a lot. Someone will talk about maybe a piece of content or a tactic or a guide, and they'll say, comment like XYZ word, and I'll send you this guide. So technically that there's nothing wrong about that, but how do you see tactics like that? Are they effective? Do you recommend them?
So that one specifically, I understand the lure. Like I get it. I've talked to people that have used it, and I want to use it sometimes because it does get you more reach. Those comments play into the algorithm. Those people liking it and all that, people connecting with you, that stuff matters. And if you post the same content, one with the comment for the asset, one with not, one will go farther. It just will. And like everything, we like to ruin it. It was great at first, right? People did it. It was great. And there's not a lot of it. And the asset was good. And people actually got the asset. What I've noticed is, and this happens to everything, so it's not even just this, people start to overuse it. And there's some bad actors and there's bad people using it that use the same asset every single time. Or it's just, I've seen this, they'll go to ChatGPT, say, make me this guide, and they'll just use that as the asset. And that's all they do now. And I've tested this where I'll just start commenting on all of them. And like the last numbers I looked at, I got like 3 out of 26 people actually send them to me. And look, maybe they're qualifying me. I'm a one-person business. Okay, fair. But again, they're just, now it's just becoming overplayed. And I think it can still work if the asset's good, if you actually deliver on the promise, if you actually give it to the people. I like that. But there are some people just making it bad, and it makes, when you do that, it just gives people a bad taste of who you are, who your brand is. One recently, I call it the double dip. They did it, the gated asset. They sent it to me. Now I go to a website where I have to fill out a form to get the asset, the double dip. That was a bad taste in my mouth. So I think there's just some bad actors out there right now, unfortunately.
Gosh, the marketer in me sees the allure though, right? You get the engagement on the LinkedIn post, you get the comment, then you get the web traffic and the form fill. Like that's gold, but it's terrible user experience.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like you see those posts and they have like 900, 1,000 comments. It's amazing, right? It's just, you got to do it right. You have to deliver on the promise.
Well, I think that's a great segue. Let's talk about doing things the right way, right? Those automation tools are tempting, but like the opposite of that is being personal, being authentic, doing it on your own. Feels like that's the way you're leaning, Tim.
That's all I know, right? Like I don't have a newsletter because I don't read newsletters. Like I don't do things because I don't like them. And so like I get all the connection requests and automation stuff. I get the AI comments. I get all that stuff. I don't like them. I'm never going to do those because I personally don't like them. And to me, it's like, it just doesn't seem right to do that. And I think, you don't, again, we mentioned like it's LinkedIn, it's a B2B kind of network. You don't need like a lot of connections and followers to grow a big brand or a affordable or a profitable company. You just need the right connections, the right people. And if you do that authentically, you'll build those connections. You'll build those friendships and business, anything you want. If you just do it, to be honest, it might take longer, but I think it's worth it.
So, could you have some examples of ways that you just try to be super authentic in LinkedIn on a daily basis? And follow up question: do you schedule time every day to be on LinkedIn, or is it more organic than that?
Yeah, it's so to answer your last question first, I'm probably not the best person to answer for this because I don't use any scheduler. I don't like block off a time in my calendar to go on LinkedIn and comment or go on LinkedIn and post. I try to post every day. I try to comment every day and be on there every day. Just before this episode, like 5 minutes on my phone on LinkedIn. I'll probably do that after. Just waiting around. It just depends on when I can get to it, essentially. Sometimes I won't, I'm not gonna lie, I do spend a lot of time on there. But that's my whole business is from LinkedIn. So it's a valuable thing for me. To your first question, it's all the basics, right? I go on there and then I scroll through. If I see a post that would make sense for me to comment, I'll comment, but I'll comment thoughtfully. Sometimes if it's someone's just getting, got a promotion, I'll say congrats to that person. Like that's just classic stuff. But if it's a thoughtful kind of post I see and I have maybe a different point of view or have questions, I'll just comment authentically. I'll comment like I'm a real person, just asking questions or giving a different point of view. If I'm not the best at my messages, but if someone messages me, I'll try to respond in the right way or try to help them in some way. Or, I don't go out and message a lot of people. It's not my thing. But I do try to respond to as many as possible. I try to, like I mentioned, try to create content every day. Some of them are jokes. Some of them are very thoughtful kind of posts and videos. I don't use AI to create all my content. I might use it as a sounding board, but I don't just post AI jargon every day. I try to be authentic and try to create content that people would resonate with, not really get the 1,000 likes. I don't really care for that. It's just more of networking at scale, like we mentioned earlier. Scale-ish, not really scale, I guess.
I think that's a great takeaway for our audience is you can use AI, but using it in a thoughtful way. For example, draft a post and then run it through AI and see, hey, maybe how can I make this better? Or how can I get my point across better? People are reading, they're digesting so much when they're on the platform. So you really want to make sure that you're choosing your words carefully. So maybe that's the cheat code for AI on LinkedIn is that first draft review.
Yeah, I mean, you could put in there, ask, hey, do you have like a better idea for a headline or not the first sentence? I personally use it because I'm not the best speller. I'll use it for spelling. Sometimes I can, because people will call you out on that. So I try to use it for spelling. I'll get rid of the M dashes because I know people hate that now too. Yeah, it's a great sounding board. I love it for a sounding board or even just give ideas.
Awesome. So I guess my last question for you is, Tim, like it feels like LinkedIn has a lot of power. The power to, like we said earlier, take businesses off the platform that are violating its terms of service and really making those businesses, somewhat non-existent in the landscape. There really isn't an alternative for really professional social media out there. Are there any emerging platforms or any other ways around LinkedIn, or do we just need to realize that LinkedIn has the power and we got to play by the rules?
Yeah, this is probably my downfall. Is if LinkedIn shut down today, I'd have nothing. I mean, I posted on Instagram, I posted on TikTok, I posted on YouTube. It's just different, in my opinion. Right now, we have to play by the rules. Everyone should, and I don't do this, so I need to talk to myself about this. But everyone should build, create those email lists and build stuff outside of the platform you don't own, because they can shut you down. They can shut down if they want. It's not up to us. But yeah, there's no other platform that I know of I know there's a lot of business people on X and a lot of business people on other platforms too, but it's just a different game.
Yeah, I agree. As a marketing leader, we have our owned audiences and our rented audiences, and we just have to walk that line really carefully to make sure that we're not leaning too much into those rented audiences, because you're right, at the end of the day, somebody else owns that and can take it away from us very easily.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's scary. It is scary. But yeah, if LinkedIn did shut down, people would go somewhere. I'm sure something else would be created, and then you'd kind of have to just rebuild from there.
Tim, thanks for all of your information on today's episode. If our listeners want to follow you or B2B Riz, where should they go?
Yeah, and thank you for having me. LinkedIn's the best place. Type in Tim Davidson, have glasses on, blue background, profile picture. I should come up.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on Closing Time today.
Awesome. Thank you.
And remember, if you want Closing Time delivered right to your inbox, just click the link in the show notes below and we will send it to you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.